America is the perfect place to keep secrets. Its jungles, mountain ranges and river systems are daunting obstacles for any explorer. It is a continent that has beguiled adventurers for centuries. Something hidden, go and find it. Go and look behind the ranges. Something lost behind the ranges, lost and waiting for you. Go. Kipling's poem is especially apt because this is Colombia, the land of El Dorado, home of the legendary Kingdom of Gold that in the 16th century lured the conquistadors ever deeper into the heart of South America. I'm Jago Cooper, and as an archaeologist who specialises in South America, I've always been fascinated by the secrets and mysteries buried deep in these awe-inspiring and forbidding landscapes. The history of this continent has been dominated by the stories of the Inca and the Spanish conquistadors. But in this series, I'll be exploring an older, forgotten past. Travelling from the coast to the clouds in search of ancient civilizations as significant and impressive as anywhere else on Earth. Here, in what's now Colombia, live two of the most extraordinary societies in the New World. The Muisca and Tairona shared language and beliefs that underpinned their cultures for 1,000 years. But it was their exquisite gold artefacts, infused with intriguing meanings, which drew European invaders into their remote lands. In this programme, I'll be discovering how two extraordinary cultures rose to power. What the gold that so bedazzled the Spanish conquistadors really meant to these people. And how it was that fate and circumstance would see the Muisca and Tairona take very different paths into the future. The beaches of Colombia's Caribbean coast are beautiful, almost a cliché of a tropical paradise. But for me, its rich past is what makes this place so special. History flows through Colombia. For 12,000 years, it was a corridor connecting the pre-Columbian populations of Central America, the Caribbean, Amazon and Andes. And 1,000 years before the Spanish arrived, the Chibcha-speaking culture from Central America spread southwards to this land. Chibcha was a language shared by different communities scattered across part of Central America and what is now Colombia. Around 700 AD, two of these communities expanded into highly organised societies skilled in agriculture and gold working. One of those cultures, the Tairona, established themselves in the mountains of the Caribbean coast. Another, the Muisca, settled 500 miles to the south. They developed independently for centuries, free from outside interference, but in 1492, that began to change. Christopher Columbus discovered the New World for the Spanish, and in the years that followed, the conquistadors' influence spread, threatening the existence of the continent's indigenous cultures. In 1537, Conquistador Jiménez de Quesada set off in search of an overland route to the newly discovered Inca homeland of Peru. With an army of 800 conquistadors, he struck deep into the heart of Colombia, with no idea of what he was about to find. The expedition took more than a year to carve its way through the jungle, up to the high plains and valleys of the interior. One of Quesada's men described the journey like this. We endured a great many hardships on the journey to the new kingdom, as much from having to slash new paths through the mountains and hills, as from hunger and sickness. And we arrived in this kingdom naked, barefoot, and burdened by the weight of our own weapons, all of which had caused the deaths of a great many Spanish. Three-quarters of the Spaniards died on the nightmare journey. Those that survived found themselves in a new and alien world. the Muisca were one of the largest indigenous societies in the whole of South America. From the mountaintops, their territory stretched beyond the horizon, occupying an area larger than Switzerland. A land where gold seemed to be everywhere, but a society unlike anything the Spanish had seen before. The Muisca weren't ruled by a supreme leader in the same way as the Inca and Aztec empires. In the Muisca world, no one person had absolute control. Instead, the Muisca territory was organised into two large federations, one in the north and one here in the south. When the conquistadors arrived, the Muisca population is estimated to have been about 500,000 people, most of whom were living in small villages. The Spanish chose one of those villages as the site of their first town, and that town has grown into Colombia's sprawling capital city, Bogotá. In the 16th century, Muisca settlements were spread all across this valley, but little evidence of them is left here today. So if I'm really to understand how Muisca society operated, I need to look outside the city and travel 30 miles to the north to one of the few remaining Muisca sites still standing.